Hello and welcome to the Pixelated Realms Gamescast, your guide through the digital landscape, untangling the mysteries of your favorite titles and discussing the latest and greatest in video game fun. I'm your host, Alex Slater, and alongside me is my brother Tyler, and who's not sitting in his chair is my good friend Dustin, but will join us in a minute.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us again on another podcast to talk about the latest and greatest, as always.
Yeah, and we've got a lot to talk about today, and it's soon to be not E3 season. I don't know what to call it anymore. Everybody's trying to figure out what to call it, but it's the formerly known as E3 season, so that's coming up. So we got a lot of fun game announcements anticipated, and we got the state of play today. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit, and I'm going to apologize. You can probably hear it in my voice. I sound awful. I'm recovering from a sickness. My house is fever town right now, so I apologize for my voice. But we're just gonna get over that very quickly.
Power
hopefully.
through.
Yeah, we're powering through. We're gonna pretend like we're not sick. So, a little bit of housekeeping and agenda stuff today. So, as always, we're going to talk about our weekly recap where we discuss kind of what we're playing and just, video game news and just like whatever. Then we're going to dive into pixelatedrealms.org/ask where we just, answer questions from our audience. Hey, Dustin's actually here now. And then we're going to dive into our main topic, which today is going to be state of play. But we also want to talk about so this upcoming week or next week, this week, yeah, this week, it'll
This
be
coming
when
week.
this episode drops. It'll be this week. Summer Games Fest is happening, and that is kind of where all the big new announcements are going to be. So we're going to have a special episode drop where we live react to Summer Games Fest, and I believe that's Friday the 8th?
7th.
7th. So we're gonna be doing that. So we'll live stream that on YouTube, Twitch, and we'll also post it like we normally do. But we'll also do a normal episode that next Tuesday. So lots of content for us this week. So that's exciting. We might also do something with IGN Live and maybe some of the other things. Still kind of up in the air, but we will let you know as that comes. How's it going, Dustin? Now that your empty ghost chair is filled.
It's good. Chilling. Looking forward to talking about State of Play with you guys.
Yeah. I mean, this year has been, we've talked about it quite a few times. This year's been a little bit dry. So it's going to be very interesting to see, like, when things get announced, it's going to kind of really tell us how this year is going to play out. Because the first half of the year in video games, right, is always like kind of like this, where we get just, kind of dripped a bunch of games. We get some good stuff usually, but it's, nothing like massive. Maybe we'll get like a big Capcom game, like a Resident Evil, or we'll get a surprise drop like Helldivers. But all the big stuff comes after summer. So
Yeah,
I'm
like
really excited to see what
getting ready
happens.
for the holiday. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All the big sales period. So let's dive right in then. What have you guys been up to?
So I'm happy to say, I don't know how many weeks I've been saying that I've been playing Warhammer Rogue Trader on this podcast, but I can say I finally beat it after over 100 hours of gameplay. Really, really good game. I'll try to find some time to do a special episode on it. Because it was just, it was an excellent CRPG, really cool Warhammer game. I'd recommend it to anyone who likes CRPGs. So that team just did a really good job. Give them all of my props. So I'll leave it there, but there's a lot more to talk about for that game.
the Warhammer podcast. And I've been seeing a lot of buzz now for the Warhammer Space Marine 2 now, and that's awesome to see because we've been talking about it for like forever, and we're like, hey, this game is probably gonna be good, and even if it's just like whatever, it's still gonna be like super epic. And now it's getting some good buzz around it. So it's like 6v6 PvP, Marine customization, 3-player co-op. I mean, it's like the graphics look awesome. So we should, like, when it comes out, we should do a live stream of the three of us playing it, because I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely one where I'm like, oh, maybe I'll pay the extra and get the 4-day early access.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking it up. We have to put our money where our mouth is, I think, at this point.
Yeah. I mean, the first one has such a sterling reputation. I don't think we're in bad hands.
No, I mean, from what I've seen, even if the game itself is a little lackluster, I still think there's a lot to just have fun with. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's just
just,
like a fun game. That's the point. It's supposed to be a just go in and slaughter things kind of game. Like,
yeah, it's like in my mind, I mean, obviously we don't know for sure yet, but it's like if like you played Doom and there was 3-player co-op and you just had
yeah,
3 Doom guys that were just wrecking havoc in hell and they're just like I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me, kind
right.
of shit. And it's like, and you're like, oh god. Uh,
Yeah, and I hear like during Space Marine 1's like heyday, like those co-op or sorry, the multiplayer was like, some of the best part of the game. And I never got to
mhm,
experience that, so I'm like excited to
mhm.
like get to be part of it.
Yeah, I know. And I'm Tyler's like, we've talked about it a lot on this podcast, like Warhammer and everything like that. And Tyler's like super obsessed. Tyler's probably painted like 100 minis. I'm on my
Over a
mini. I'm
hundred
on.
minis.
Let me see. I'm on mini number 9. Like I haven't even completed a full box yet, unless you count
I
my one little individual character. But I'm so behind. I have literally 8 boxes of unopened Warhammer figurines that I still have to, I'm like this close to just like putting them all together and just keeping them gray.
Well,
And
that's
then
basically what I did. I was like, assembled everything, and then I slowly, like, or quickly painted it.
yeah, I'll paint like 30 minutes or an hour like every other day and it's just super slow and I'm not a good painter. So I'm like fixing my mistakes. So I spend probably twice as long as a normal person painting it because I have to like go back and fix everything.
I can confidently say after 3 months, my honeymoon period is coming to a close, and now it's just another one of my many hobbies that I enjoy.
Right. Still very cool though. Like I don't think it'll ever go away for
No, I
us.
still love. I was painting yesterday still. It's just like that initial burst period seems to have finally run its
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, it's just therapy now. We gotta
Yeah.
send Dustin like the introductory set, one of the intro sets, so
Yeah.
we can get him hooked on it. So
Oh,
along
just
with his
send
like,
me some like 3D printed like waifu statues, and I'll try to paint those.
There
oh,
you go.
That'll
okay,
be
done.
my painting hobby. Just
Those
trying
a
to
hundred,
make cool figures.
those 100% exist. So I will send you some, or I'll bring some because we're gonna meet up for camping soon. So I'll bring some for
Yeah.
you.
If you don't, I'll be big sad. Big sad.
Okay,
But
I'll remember. I'll put it. I'm gonna write it down right now. What do you guys? But so what have you been doing? What's going on?
I didn't play any video games this week because my cousins have come out to visit a couple times, and they came out for this past holiday weekend. And every time they come, my aunt will watch like some show on Netflix, and she was like 2 months ago, she was watching like season 3 of the show Suits. And so I watched like parts of season 3. And I always wanted to watch the show, and I never got around to it. And then when they came out this time, she was like watching like season 5. So I sat down and watched like a lot of season 5 and like the beginning of season 6 with her. And then I was like binge mode activated. Just like cranked out like 4 seasons of Suits this week. And really good show. Season 7 probably my favorite. But yeah, so I didn't really get a chance to game very much because I was just doing that. Actually, I haven't even watched like the latest 2 One Piece episodes because of that, which also like kind of like blasphemy to not do that on time. So yeah, I gotta watch some One Piece today, and then another like so totally not games related, but I follow this brand Kith. I like some of their clothes are kind of hype beasty, like New York based found brand by this guy named Ronnie Fig, and they're doing a collaboration with like TaylorMade, the golf brand, and they're like doing it also with this golf cart brand, and like this golf cart, this isn't even the collab one, just normal one, $27,000 for like a 4-seater golf cart, and I'm just sitting here like, who the fuck's buying a fucking golf cart for $27,000? Like, you can go get the one at Lowe's for like 10 grand, and it like looks dope.
Lowe's sells a golf cart.
By my house they do. Maybe because like of where I live, but yeah, I'm just like, yeah, this thing looks nice, but like I could go buy a Corolla,
Yeah,
you know,
literally.
like
Yeah,
that's just
it's like almost a car.
that's kind of hardcore. So I mean, it looks dope. If I was like just dumb money and I lived in like an area where a golf cart was actually functional. Oddly enough, my neighborhood, a lot of people own golf carts, and I'm just like, guys, there's a park that's within like less than about a quarter mile away from our house, and then Vaughn's. Like that's all there is. Like, where are you golf carting to?
Right,
I don't
right.
get it.
Where are you golfing to? Yeah.
Golf carting to
you
your
know,
friend's house.
yeah, like they just like they just like pile their families in and like go around the neighborhood. I'm just like, you guys thought this was going to be a good idea, and then now you've realized you've wasted a lot of money on this thing. That you like never take down the Vons. I've never seen a fucking golf cart in the parked in the Vons parking lot. Like the most I've seen is like 15-year-olds using the golf carts down at the park to like race around the fucking baseball field.
Right. Yeah.
So
Well,
I mean, that sounds pretty fun.
Well, luckily you don't have to play many games this week because there was a lot to talk about in State of Play. So yeah, are we doing questions before State of Play, or we're gonna do them after?
Well,
Let's
I
do it
actually have some
before.
game updates, but
Okay.
and then
All right,
we'll
hit
talk
me with
about
some game updates. I like it.
yeah. So I've had a little bit of time to play games this week, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it last time I was on the episode, but I've been playing this game a lot called Gray Zone Warfare, and I'm actually really digging it. And it's like it won't appeal to either of you, but it's like a Tarkov kind of game, Escape from Tarkov. So it's like a hardcore shooter, but it's not shitty. So Tarkov is like is just a fucking dumpster fire in my opinion. It has a lot of not redeemable, but it has a lot of very unique gameplay and like a vision that is very cool. And I think that's what originally drew a lot of people to that game. And so for those who aren't very familiar with the Escape from Tarkov game, it's this quote unquote hardcore shooter like military simulation game.
Right.
And
Very punishing.
and like the idea is you're this like private military contractor in Russia in that game, and you drop into these zones, and you have like your helmet, your bulletproof helmet and your armor and stuff like that, and you go in and you're trying to like complete some mission, and then you extract. Well, if you die, you lose everything that you have, and you have to like rebuy it or find it or whatever. So it's considered, kind of like very hardcore in that aspect. That if you die, like all of your stuff is gone. So if you were to spend like, weeks building up some like really good gear and then die, it would just all be gone. But
High
there's a
risk,
lot.
high reward.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people like that game, but I hate it because I like the idea and the vision of what it was supposed to be, but the game is just executed very poorly, in my opinion. Like, for instance, the thing that is like the most annoying to me is that like when you get dropped into like a level, there's these extraction points, and it'll give you like the name. It'll be like extract here, but it doesn't. You have no idea where that is. There's no marker. There's no nothing, and you're just supposed to stand in this random spot at some point, and it counts down to like 10 seconds, and then you like extract out. And I'm just kind of like, okay, like I get they're trying to make it like hardcore, but I need to fucking know where the hell I need to go. Otherwise, this game is just totally useless to me. And so like I'm not a big fan of games that you have to look up stuff for on the internet to play. And that's just like one of many things that I have a critique about that game. But that being said, now Gray Zone Warfare takes that same concept and adds a lot of quality of life improvements and actually makes it a much more fun game. So it's another hardcore military sim. It does take a lot from Tarkov. I actually think maybe a little too much. Like a lot of the UI looks almost like copy and pasted over from Tarkov. But they probably did that because they wanted it to feel familiar to the players when they transition, if they transition over. But same concept. So you drop in into the world, and if you die, you drop all your stuff. The difference in this one is instead of having these like levels that you drop into, it's an open world map. And so you get dropped into a server, and then you have to request like a helicopter to come pick you up, and it'll drop you off in specific zones. So that's cool because it's more immersive than it is like clicking on a button that says go to this level, and then it loads the map, right? But on top of that, if the to like the extraction part, for instance, like you call a helicopter to come and pick you up, so and it shows you on your map like where you need to go. So it's very immersive, very cool. The NPCs are a lot better. So in Tarkov, there's very few NPCs, and it's like so hardcore that like they'll headshot you from like across the map, and you just won't know where it came from, kind of a thing. And you're just kind of like, okay, like a little too hardcore, like kind of stupid. In this one, it's a lot more manageable. The bad guys aren't very good shots, So it's like you kind of like they'll kind of give you a few pop shots first, and you're like, oh, okay, I know they're coming from over there. Then I can kind of hide, and then I can find them, and I can try and take them out. So it's like the AI is much better, which makes the game a lot more fun. And as opposed to Tarkov, you can do a PvP mode or a PvE mode. So same thing in Tarkov is like if you run into another player, they can kill you and take your shit. But in Gray Zone Warfare now, you can play, hey, I want to play with other players, but I don't want them to be able to kill me. So that is nice. So you can see other players, you can interact with them, but they won't like one-shot you from across the map with their like tier 10 level shit. I'm not going to go too much more into it, but I'm really enjoying the game.
I just
Very
remember us
fun.
talking about this game, and it's me telling you that I'm just way too old because I suck at FPS now. And so any game where like I am punished by dying, I'm just like, ugh. I don't know, because like I don't know, like I don't want to play and then like get punished for dying when I'm like old and slow.
To me, it becomes too much like of a negative award. You're like, yes, I didn't die today. It's like that doesn't feel good to me. And I'm like, so
It's
that
more
was the
of a
same thing
relief.
with Rust, right? Yeah, it's like Rust was like, I'm super stressed. I won. I'm not stressed. It was like
that's
it
how
wasn't like I feel good.
That's how I feel with ranked gaming, honestly. And I've probably said this before, but like that's how like Overwatch or League was ending up for me. It's like you win, like if you lose,
But
you
it's relief,
fucking
not
tilted
yeah.
out, But when
Yeah.
you win, you're not even like happy you won. You're just like, oh, thank fucking God. Can we now? Let's try to do this shit again. Like, like there's actually like no joy. It's just like such a stressful moment, like experience where you're just like, we're like afterwards. Yeah, it's like. Yeah, it's more like a relief than like actually like.
But that's
having
why
fun.
that goes back to the like where all of us are forgetting how to have fun playing video games nowadays. Everyone's just trying to be good at video games. We're all forgetting that we're just like supposed to be having fun.
Right. Well, that's what we were talking about last week.
Not a game.
That's what we talked about last week, though, with Battlefield, right? Like the style of gaming has changed. Where like people like old Battlefield, it was just like chaotic, 30 people per team, like huge map. Like you're not really tracking KDA. You're not really tracking like a personal rank. Like you're just dropping it with your squad, and it was just about like having fun and trying to complete the objective. But now, like if your game, especially FPS or even third-person shooter, doesn't have some kind of let me pat myself on the back to show the world how good I am feature in it, it's like not like the replay.
It's
like,
not worth
people
it.
don't want to play it as much, or continue to play it. Like they need the grind, or like they want the grind, they want the rank, they want to show that they're good to everybody, and it's honestly, in my opinion, like ruined a vast majority of like the shooter gaming experience because of
multiplayer games in general. I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that.
That's a bigger topic.
Well, it actually is a really good segue though into the next game that I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of like X Defiant actually, and I was surprised by this game. So it's the Ubisoft's like, Call of Duty basically.
Yeah, I remember us saying this last week.
And it came out, and I was like, all right, it's a free to play game, so I was like, I'm gonna download it and just like check it out for a few minutes and just kind of see where it's at. And I was surprised to be as hooked onto it as I am. I've been playing like a little bit every day, and I think it's something that we should play together. I mean, it's free to play; there's no downside. And the reason I think I'm so hooked into it is because to me, it actually feels like what you're talking about. It feels to me like the older style of multiplayer shooter games that we used to play, where it's less about showing off and being competitive and more of just kind of just like go in. We're going to play a little match. We're going to have some fun. We're going to do some shit, and then we're going to be done with it.
Why do you say
that? And it's just simpler. The game is just, it's simpler. And I mean, honestly, I haven't given it like a great thought about why it feels like that, but it's still very early in the game, so of course it could change. But it's just like, excuse me. It's, you have, it is very lightly class-based. So there you have your guns, which any class can use, but then you have from across all of the Ubisoft like catalog, they have different characters from their IP. So it's like they have these firefighter guys. Sorry, I forgot what they're called, but they're like the from the Division. They're one of the bad guy groups that like are firemen. and then they have the Ghost Recon characters, they have Watchdog characters, they have Far Cry characters, and Splinter Cell characters, and all of them have two. So they have an ultimate that's unique to the faction, and then they have like an ability, so like a kind of an alternate grenade thing. So for instance, like the firefighter guys have like a drone that shoots out fire and explodes, and then you can pick from one of two. But anyways, so you can kind of pick that, and then they also have passive benefits. So like the fire guys they do a couple when you shoot somebody, all of their or all of their ammo has fire damage, and then the Ghost Recon guys have extra health. Splinter Cell guys don't show up on the mini map, stuff like that. So it's not like game changing. Like none of them are too like aren't game breaking, but it's just enough to give you a slight advantage in a type of gameplay that you have. But it doesn't feel as hardcore as like even Call of Duty, which isn't very hardcore, but you know what I mean? Like as far as like ranked, like, oh, I gotta get my KD like really good. Like it doesn't feel like
Right.
your KD fucking matters at all in this game. And that's kind of where I feel that more casualness to it. And so like at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, maybe I'll just like drop in, play a few games of this and then be done with it.
Yeah, I mean,
And then
it's nice to have games like that.
Well,
yeah,
you should have
and
been
it
here
has
last
like
week when Ralph asked us if this game was going to be a true competitor to COD.
I don't think it's going to be a true competitor to COD. I do think it's going to carve out its own little space. I mean, the thing is with Call of Duty is nothing can like stand Call of Duty. Call of Duty's been its pedigree like kind of holds it up a lot even. So it's like you have to spend 20 years to get to where Call of Duty is, even if you were to ignore the gameplay. The fact that you say the word Call of Duty and everybody knows what it is just too strong. But I do think it's gonna survive at least the year. I don't know if it's gonna become the thing with like the Ubisoft games is I don't think they're actually trying to make these like runaway massive hits. If you think about games like Rainbow Six Siege or For Honor or all of their kind of games like that is like they're all successful. They're all in their own right, but none of them are like in the media 24/7. Like that's not their goal. Their goal isn't to be the Call of Duty and to always be a headliner. They're just like, hey, as long as we have like a consistent fan base that's keeping this game afloat, like we're gonna keep supporting it, and they're not overstretching. And I feel like that's like a lot of games issue is that they overstretch, and they
Like
kind
their
of like
scope.
yeah, exactly. And they're like, we are going to be the next Call of Duty, and we are going to put all these resources in, and we are going to put so much money in, and then they're like, don't get their investment back, and they're like, well, we got to close this project because we overscoped it. But
Yeah.
Ubisoft's like, hey, like, listen, we know this is going to be a fun game. There's going to be an audience for it. We're going to put as much money into it as there are people playing it, and they're like keeping it like, kind of where it should be. Like they're not like, hey, like we're not trying to be Call of Duty. We're just trying to find a group that doesn't want to play Call of Duty, and we're going to support them, right? So,
yeah, well, the difference too is like, right, like if you look at COD 20 years ago or whatever it was, like they didn't have that kind of marketing. They've built, like you said, they've built that over 20 years. So, like for instance, at GameSpeak, we listened to that VP of marketing or whatever at Activision, and I told you like during his talk that like this is like mostly bullshit because they have so much fucking money and name recognition and consistent yearly cycle of games that they can do stuff that other games can't and never will be able to probably because they have the resource, they have the brand, they have the consistency that people know. So yeah, I mean, like if you look at like an Ubisoft game like Siege, like when did that game come out? Like at least like 8 years ago now, probably. There hasn't been like a Siege 2, right? So it's like
no.
you look at like a X Defiant compared to COD. Like, are we going to get X Defiant Black Ops next year, or like whatever their version is, and then after that get another X Defiant 2? Like no, we're not. And so it's also like people probably aren't going to like massively invest in this title when they know that COD is going to keep coming. It's going to keep trying to innovate a little bit and improve on its system a little bit. I'm not going to say they make like they definitely don't make leaps and bounds, but I'd say they try to make tweaks every time that improve the experience. Like like I've told you there, like it's easy to do PR for Call of Duty because everybody wants to play Call of
Mhm.
Duty. For instance, they did this newspaper piece of marketing. They took out they use USA Today branding, but it's like a 2 full page or it's like a front page looking newspaper. It has all this like stories, like headline stories, but they're all a part of the game, like telling different stories from the game, and it looks just like a newspaper. And like it was really creative, and I saw something similar done for Spider-Man at E3. They actually had copies of the Bugle that you could take when the first Spider-Man
Mhm.
game came out for PlayStation. But yeah, like unless you're a brand like that, you can't do that. Or you can, but no one's talking about it on fucking Twitter and everywhere, in Games Press. So it's just a different level of what you can do. And it will be very difficult for any game to ever catch caught in that regard.
Yeah. Yep. Well, moral of the story of that one is X-Defiant's worth a shot. we should play it. Might be a fun game night game.
Play us in the
excuse me,
finals.
sorry. Yeah, I definitely think it's better than the finals. I like the finals. I thought the finals was fun, but
The gunplay is
gimmicky,
janky as fuck.
the gunplay sucked. The gunplay was awful. I think the traversal was really good in that game, but the novelty of it wore off really fast. Right? That was one of the things in that game is like it was novel because it was like, oh, it's this like fun sideshow kind of, thing, and then you run around really
novelty
fast.
was like 2 hours for me. Like that's how
like
long
we've
it
talked
lasted.
about too with like the three of us, like when you're so busy with life and you have such a limited amount of time to play games, are you gonna really pick up the finals at this point? Like probably not. Like maybe if like we're all on and we're just like bored, like, oh, what do you want to play? Maybe. But like that's it, right? Like
it wasn't fun enough for that, in my opinion. Yeah.
Not for our demographic, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, and real quick before we move on, I started to play Hellblade 2, like really quick, because I played the first one and I was like, it's on Game Pass, so I downloaded it. And God, that game is beautiful. Like the game is it's made in Unreal Engine 5, and the game looks like a freaking movie. It's so cool. Like it's like playing a movie. It's
how long did you play it for?
It's just crazy. A couple hours. I know. I
So
heard you
like
guys'
halfway?
episode. Yeah,
honestly,
probably.
so I downloaded one. I said I was going to download and play one last week, and I did. And honestly, I don't think I could take more than 5 or 6 hours of a game like this. Like, I don't know. I still feel like $50 might be a bit much, but like I still don't want a longer game.
Yeah, I agree that game is it's like a very dense small game, right? Like they pack a lot into every moment. And so it's like if it was like I don't think I could do 10 hours of that game because it's so intense, like every frame. But I mean I like it. And the fact that it was, quote unquote free on Game Pass made it just that much easier to play. So but cool. Let's move on to our Ask Pixelated Realms. So let me. Oh God, where'd it go? I lost my tab. So if you want to ask us a question or leave us a comment, you can go to pixelatedrealms.org/ask and leave us a comment, and we'll talk about it right now. So we're gonna go ahead and pull up our little spreadsheet here, and Alex is back. Got to use crazy names again. Don't know who this is. Mystery stranger. Somebody's leaving all these questions. Couldn't possibly know who it is. Definitely.
Hey, Ralph labeled his name last week, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, this can't be Ralph. It can't be him anymore. So we're not going to give him credit for this one. This is mystery stranger. All right. So the question is, what's your stance on players modding games for easier playthrough? What kind of modding is acceptable? Oh, interesting question. I mean, I like
if you're
the mod.
just playing, if you're playing with yourself, then yeah, feel free, man. Do whatever you like to the game.
I don't know.
I agree.
I feel like if you're modding a game to make it easier, then you're some level
you
of
shouldn't
like
go around
cheating.
bragging. You shouldn't be like, I'm the best Dark Souls player in the world, and then go and mod it. Like,
it's basically hacking, right? Though, like it's like literally using a cheat code.
Right. And I feel the same way about cheat codes. If you want to use a cheat code and get through the level, like you're perfectly welcome to do that, but like, you know, you didn't
Yeah,
learn.
don't go like,
anything.
I
It's
beat
like
this
cheating
game
on
in
your
like 2
test.
hours, and everyone's like, oh my
Yeah,
god, how'd
it's
you do
cheating
that?
on your
It's
tests at school. You know, you didn't learn physics. You just, you know, cheated off the guy who did learn the physics.
yeah.
like,
If
I
you
don't
want
care.
to
Like,
do
if,
it in single player, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
games,
mean-
fuck. All right, multiplayer, fuck that though. No, get the fuck out of here with that shit.
yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. It's like modding on like single player games, go crazy. People go crazy. Like whatever. I don't think there's any like, you know, I don't give a shit what you do in your you know, private space or whatever. Like that has absolutely nothing to do with us. Go crazy. And if you want to make the game easier to play the game, like if you're gonna mod Dark Souls to make it easy, like go for it. If that's what you want to do to, you know, experience the game, all for it. The only place that I can see this getting a little sketchy is like online multiplayer games. And so it's kind of tough to use the word modding though, because see, like you could mod a multiplayer game and it's like only local to you. So like let's say I mod
Gary's mod.
well, that's a totally different thing. But let's say I'm playing
Yeah.
Call of Duty and I use a mod to change my skin. No one else playing with me will see the skin that I modded on because you mod it locally. Um, I'm not gonna explain the technicality behind that, but like basically, like let's say like I want to play as like, you know, before the Warhammer stuff, I wanted to play as like a Warhammer character. If I download a mod that changes my skin on my computer, it doesn't propagate to the server. So other
It's
people
like
will
such
see.
a specific thing though. Like,
Yeah, but like that kind of thing is okay. Like if you want to mod your like local
I know,
game,
but-
whatever. But if you're modding, quote unquote modding, see, because there's a difference between like
I feel like that
modding and like
exceeds the
cheating.
scope of the question.
Like, are
That's
we
my point.
cheating? Like cheating
Yeah.
bad, obviously. Cheating is
Yeah.
bad. If you're like doing something like that, like the other use case where I could see this being unacceptable is if you're a streamer or a content creator or something like that, you mod your game and you don't tell people and you taking and you're saying like, oh, watch me do X thing, and then say that it's like a vanilla version of the game, but it's not, right? That is unethical in my opinion. So if you're like, you mod the game to make it easier, don't tell anybody, and then play the game online and be like,
That's
wow, look
just
how
like-
fucking good I am. That's just
That's
sleazy.
just literal fraud, though. It's just like literal
Yeah.
fraud.
Yeah,
So,
that's the only
yeah.
way. But I mean, like, I have like hundreds of gigabytes of mods on my like Fallout and like Skyrim and shit. So it's like I definitely am like pro
I
modding.
have the most ridiculous fucking Left 4 Dead mod ever. Like, I totally forgot I had it installed. Actually, it changed the character models, and I turned it on like a year ago to play with Liana, and I was cracking up because it is just like anime girls in like those skimpy bikinis, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is such a fucking ridiculous mod. But
That's like when you turn your computer on and you're, like, somebody wants to like come over and see you play the game. You're like, oh, turn the mods off, turn the mods off.
yeah, but no one can see them though, other than me. You know, everyone else
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
just looks like the normal models, and I had to like take a screenshot of it to show her what my characters look like, and we had a laugh about it. I don't know. But,
You're like, I don't remember doing this.
I wouldn't-
yeah, I was like, oh, this is like.
All right, next.
Okay, go ahead.
All right,
Moving on.
Next question. What video game series do you see? Oh, this is by Redder for which I'm assuming is also Ralph. Oh, no, it's Ralph backwards. Ralph, Ready. No, wait, what is
You
it?
know, one
Ralph
of those
Ryder?
days we're gonna get someone who's not Ralph, and you're gonna think it is.
It is Ralph Ryder backwards. It's just backwards. What video game series do you want to see a sequel or a new iteration for? Oh, well, Star Wars, you know, Knights of the Old Republic for sure.
Cyberpunk 2077
Ghost of
Part
Tsushima.
2. Part
Ghost.
2.
Ghost for sure.
All right, good enough for me.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any like big outstanding ones.
I like to see an
Um,
actual Nier Automata
Like
follow up, but I mean it'd be hard based on the ending. But
Sekiro
Yeah.
would be great.
You know what? This is like totally out of left field, but I would like to see a properly done Perfect Dark. Like the
Just
original.
an IP at this point, though. Like,
Yeah, but I feel like it's so underrepresented and like so like the original Perfect Dark was like amazing game. Like I remember spending so much time in that. It was like equivalent to GoldenEye, even though it doesn't get as much rep. It's by the same people. They made both games.
yeah, no,
It's
yeah.
rare or is it rare? I think it's, you know what? I don't know. I forgot who it's by, but they made both games. And that game was so cool and so much fun and so unique and so good. And then they came out with on the Xbox 360. They came out with like that new Perfect Dark, and it was just like average at best.
Perfect
And
Dark
so I
is
was
made
like,
by
man,
Rare.
It is rare.
it was
yeah.
rare.
Holy
Okay.
shit.
And I was like, man, that one I feel like could come. You know, that one could make a comeback as an IP. And
Here's
they
the
just
thing,
need
though.
to,
It's like, you're right. At the time, that game was like, it introduced so many things that had never been in a first-person shooter. We had like the practice range. I just remember that blowing my mind in the game. You could like go up and down an elevator and go to these different sections and do tutorials.
you had
and
your base.
Yeah, it was really cool and very unique. But none of those things are unique nowadays or novel. Those are just standard things we see in all games now. So I don't know what is actually unique about Perfect Dark that would translate nowadays that would be special. That's my question.
I mean, I agree. I totally agree with that. But it's more of to me that the IP is not being utilized as well as it could.
Sure.
Is like, yeah, they'll have to figure out how to make it a good game. What made it special? Because to me, like, I remember the story being very cool too. Like, it was a very unique story, and the weapons were very cool and unique. You know, you had the far sight; you could shoot through walls. Like, that was really cool.
I remember,
and then
like,
having
the computing
Elvis
stuff.
the alien.
Oh,
yeah, and like you literally go into like basically Area 51 and rescue an alien in that game. And I just remember it being like really fun and unique and stuff like that. And so it's just like I feel like they could recapture that IP. I do think they are remaking a Perfect Dark game. So maybe that will come into fruition at some point. I'm not exactly holding my breath though, but I just feel like that is something that like Xbox owns the IP for, and just hasn't really used, you know. And I think I would like to see it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I got sucked in to because I was a huge GoldenEye fan, and GoldenEye was made by Rare. And then they came out with a sequel to 007, and it wasn't made by Rare, and it sucked. And then Perfect Dark came in. I was like, oh shit, here we go. This is what we wanted. But it's under a new IP. So.
Too late. Too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a great game. All right, so let's dive into State and Play though. But before we dive in, we really appreciate those who followed and subscribe to us. We post new episodes every Tuesday morning on podcast services and YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Pixelated Realms Podcast. Probably have to update that little field to be something a little more interesting. Okay, so State of Play happened a couple days ago. I know that we're mostly in audio. Oh.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
So
State of Play,
yeah, State of Play. So we're mostly like an audio podcast, but I do kind of want to play a couple clips because I caught like the highlights, but I did want to see, for instance, like Concord, which is something that was announced during State of Play, and I want to play the video. So here, let me share my screen. So for our audio listeners, we'll talk about it. Here, can I pull that up? Okay.
Free gunning. It's hard work, but it's
a spaceship,
and we don't take it for granted.
Landing on Mars or some kind of planet.
A free gunner means, well, you're free.
It's giving me the Overwatch Valorant vibes.
Yeah, it is. Like
free gunners have a shot at making something of themselves, a chance to be someone.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
so
clippy
like a bunch of unique.
But it's super clippy for me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it should be okay when we actually upload it, but it's got a lot of like the levels look like straight out of Destiny, but the not exactly the art style, but like the design. But it's very much like Overwatch, kind of hero-based, unique weapons, unique abilities, objectives, kind of a game.
That's like straight out of Valorant.
Yeah. Guy's using his hockey.
I mean, the mocap characters is like the coolest thing to me. Like, they all look really good, in my opinion, but gameplay-wise, I won't even have an idea until we actually play it.
Yeah.
We risk our lives every day to do the
Honestly,
job.
I don't really think it looks that interesting.
It looks pretty generic with a little extra.
Like, the cinematic was kind of interesting, and then I watched the gameplay itself, and I was like, I don't know, like it's whatever.
Face any enemy.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't look that great. Like the
Truly,
graphics
it looks
look
like any other
last gen.
shooter. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
this looks exactly the same as like Overwatch or, you know, any of these, any shooter, team shooter that's come out in the last 5 years.
yeah, they're trying to make it look like you have this like Guardians of the Galaxy crew that you kind of run with, but it does look like an overall. Like this is literally Ana right here.
It's Widowmaker, yeah. No, that was
With
Widowmaker.
Like, she
jumping
looks
up
like
into the
she looked like Ana with Widowmaker like abilities.
The crew is gathering. Would you like to join us for a game?
Yeah,
night?
this feels like a really interesting set of characters based on the cinematic. Like, I would have rather have seen this, like these characters utilized in a like an adventure game or story-based game rather than like a 5v5 shooter.
Yeah,
it's the same thought I had about Overwatch. I was like, I'd rather play the campaign of this game than like just have a multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, does this move the needle for you guys at all? I heard somewhere on a podcast that like they're gonna do like weekly cinematic story drops. Is like the idea of the game,
weekly,
which sounds expensive
Impossible?
and busy.
Ambitious.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's gonna last like 6 months, and then they're gonna lose it.
It's like
But-
that's the whole Overwatch thing. It's like, oh, we're gonna do all these cool cinematics and add single player modes, and then it's never.
Well,
gonna
what
happen.
they'll do is it's just similar to like what even WoW has done, right? Like they used to have like these incredibly high quality cinematics, and then I think they realized it's very expensive, and then it became kind of like more animation cinematics to like fill the gaps. But you very rarely at this point get like these, like pretty much like at launch or reveal, you get like the big like high quality cinematic. At this point, but yeah, it doesn't really move the needle for me. Like, because it's not like I might check it out if it's free to play. You know, it looks like a game that will be free to play.
Yeah,
but
to me, it's like
I don't
X Deviant, right, or whatever. X Defiant,
Defiant.
X Defiant. Like it's like okay, cool. Like I have 100 of these games on my list. Tell me what's going to make yours different. And even like the finals, I was like, okay, the finals looks kind of different. And I played it and I was like, nope, I'm good. So like, it's such a gamble with this type of game.
Yeah,
I do think
tough.
the finals was different. Like it did have a very unique
it was different,
game
but it wasn't fun in my opinion.
The gunplay was too awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this just based off the trailer, like I guess I'll try it, but it's also a game where like
there's others I'm more interested in.
I just don't like playing this type of game also by myself. And so like maybe if like we were all online and like, oh, let's just try it out. Sure. But is it something I'm just gonna kick on? I wanna like jump into like a random team and like play with people? Like fuck no. Like not in today's gaming community.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you guys said. And something that like to me that kind of makes this like weird is that they're making it like so character based that like if the way that I play games is I would want to like pick a character and kind of stick with them and feel like that's me, like I'm that person, right? So it's like, but that's not how this game is going to be, right? You're going to rotate through a bunch of characters, which means you're not going to be connected to like any one of them. And so you're going to have this like cast of characters and you're just going to kind of be like, yeah, okay, like none of them.
Why are you rotating?
I mean, like, if you were to play like Overwatch, you're not gonna. I mean, some people do, right? But you'll pick like one main, but then
only.
you're like, oh, yeah, you're like, oh, but I gotta fill this slot or I gotta do this thing, right? So you're gonna have to rotate around.
I mean, we don't really know that yet, right?
But it's like what I was referencing. I don't want to play a solo experience in a 5v5 game because you do have people like that who do not want to, for the better of the team and actually winning, they'll stick on one character. They have to play Roadhog in Overwatch, right? So like no matter, even if that character is shit right now or it doesn't fit the team composition, they only play Roadhog. And it makes the experience less fun. So in a game like this, like yeah, you have to be able to adapt and be able to build a team comp that's best set up to win. And because of that, you're gonna need to know like you're gonna have to have a subset of characters that you like to play.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we just don't have like tons. We don't know if you're gonna be able to change or if it's just gonna be choose one like Valorant or Like, I mean, yeah, we'll just have to know
Oh,
those
Well, but I mean,
details as we get more
even
Not
with
even-
information.
different
not even
maps, though,
mid-game.
like not
Yeah.
mid-game, just like, oh, this game I'm playing healer, but this game I'm
Yeah.
playing tank, and this game I'm playing attack.
Sure.
You know,
Right. And if they're making it so, like, they're trying to, like, from, like, the story kind of CGI stuff that I've seen, they're trying to make it so you, like, feel really connected to all these characters. But if you don't get to, like, play as, like, because, like, if you play a game, you see through the lens of one character, in, like, a
Sure.
single player kind of experience. But
So would you say
you're
it's the
trying
same
to-
thing for Overwatch?
yes, I would
Okay,
say
okay,
that's one of the weaknesses.
I was trying to understand the difference. Yeah.
No, I think that's one of the weaknesses of Overwatch too, is that you don't get to see the game through the lens of a single character. You have to see it through like 20 characters, and it waters down the kind of story narrative
interesting.
experience of it.
I think a lot of
but-
people would disagree, but that's an interesting point.
I think so, but that game is also dying, so
Yeah.
maybe they're wrong. I mean, that also had to do a lot.
I mean, I'm a character
free to play.
purist. I feel the same way as you. I just think others
Well,
would disagree.
like, no, I mean, I would like to be, but you can't.
Yeah.
Realistically, like that's like, the only example I can think of that has nothing to do with this type of game, but it's like Destiny, right? You build your character, you are one character, everything is
Yeah.
through that character. If you could like lock in a character early in this kind of game and feel like I could actually play this character like legitimately and not change, then I would feel a lot more connected to the game, as opposed to, like we were saying, like, oh, the meta has changed, the character that I play is no longer relevant, I have to switch to a new character and relearn like this thing, which is actually a strategy probably by the game makers to get people to rotate through characters. It's like, well, now I no longer feel like as connected to the storyline.
I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like you're talking about some single player game that is not the multiplayer game we're looking at.
no, but
Like,
exactly.
well,
I think that's the case. But
I'm
based
like,
on how they're
it feels
marketing,
like-
but based
Yeah,
on how they're
yeah.
marketing the game as like get invested in these characters, it's more so like Alex. I know what I was saying of like, it doesn't feel like the right kind of game in the way that they're marketing the characters and the cinematic. Like it feels like this should be a single player, like,
Some
or
kind of
even
single player
multiplayer, like
experience.
story based experience, and not a 5v5 shooter.
I
Mhm.
feel like they're just trying to take a book out of Overwatch, which is funny because I don't know why you would want to do that. Anyway,
Yeah,
there's a lot of games to talk about in games.
Yeah,
I don't
we
want to.
can
Sorry, I
continue.
don't want to bog us down on this one. There's a lot of interesting games.
Okay, so we have, but I agree. I think they're just trying to
yeah.
get a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one,
what was it? Ragnarok coming to God of War Ragnarok coming to PC. I don't think we need to spend time on that.
No,
It's
you
coming
know
to
what? I
PC.
wasn't gonna go down the list exactly. I was gonna pick out some of the more interesting ones.
Then let's talk
so, like-
about.
Well, let's
What is it?
Well, let's talk
Well-
about Dynasty Warriors Origins. That was
Okay.
Dynasty Warriors is a big drop. Like it's a series that has been going on for a long time. This new one looks like they've definitely like changed up some of the dynamics on like how the army system works and how you're sending thousands of troops, at each other and whatnot. I'd be interested in trying it out. I never like spent tons of hours on Dynasty Warriors, but I'd be
Yeah.
interested in seeing what this one pans out to be.
I like Dynasty Warriors. There's a certain like a level of kind of excuse me, like casualness to it, of where you're just like, running into a field of thousands of nameless people, and you're just hacking them all to death. I'd be interested to see more gameplay on this and to see kind of like what's different. And I mean, it looks gorgeous and it looks cool. So I mean, I'm interested. I don't know if this is like a day one for me though. I might have to be a little more convinced.
Yeah, it'd be more like an Xbox Pass game one for me, unless the reviews come in and it's
True.
like, wow,
Yeah. Well, this is all PlayStation State of Play, so like I don't know of how much of this is going to be on Game Pass.
Oh, good
Um,
point.
but I did want to play the trailer though for Alien Rogue Incursion.
I
didn't
saw
get a chance.
that. Yeah,
didn't-
and
I didn't.
I don't have a
get a-
VR.
Oh, is it a VR game?
It is a VR game. I
Womp
thought it was
womp.
Alien Isolation 2, and I was like, oh my gosh! And then I was like, oh no, it's VR. Damn it. I mean, it's still
Oh,
cool. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, it's a PSVR game. Well, it's less than a minute, so here let me play it real quick.
Hey, VR is up and coming, yo.
well,
Finally.
Older.
once VR cannot make me sick after like 30 minutes, then we can talk.
Yeah, PSVR 2 is dead though. They completely dropped that. Oh god, loading, buffering. Planetary designation LV-354. Name Perdon.
This
Oh,
would
it
be
is
so
Alien
friggin'
Isolation.
scary.
It's
Yeah,
just VR.
yeah.
I mean,
It's toned
honestly,
down
that
drastically.
this totally makes sense. Like this is
Great
this would be
idea, yeah.
terrifying.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't want to see that shit. That would that would be terrifying.
Oh, it was like literally like 10 seconds,
Yeah.
and then it's just a card. Okay, I mean, so that's cool. Though the thing is, like, PlayStation VR is dead. It's oh, like they barely support PSVR 2 now in PlayStation. Like I feel like, or I don't know, like I don't think it sold very well, and so they haven't been doing anything with it. So I would like to see this come to like the Oculus or Meta, whatever.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
play it
obviously,
then.
it looks cool. I'd love to play it, but I'm definitely not buying equipment for it or anything like that. Like,
No,
I'd
it's
try
definitely
it,
not a
but
system seller. Did you guys see
that being,
Marvel Rivals at all? By the way, this is totally like random.
I did see Marvel Rivals. It made me think the same things that Concord made me feel, where it was like, and this is all the same crap from all the same team fighting games that we see. And frankly, it looks like Smite, which doesn't look good to me. Nothing about this looks interesting or good or anything other than a cash grab. That's just my opinion from what I saw.
Yeah.
But just so everyone knows, it's like a 5v5 or 6v6 third person over the shoulder multiplayer arena game. Marvel characters are your selection. You know, it's
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
one of these things where I don't understand why they haven't made more good Marvel games.
I mean, the animation style is pretty cool. It kind of looks comic book, cel shaded style.
All realities converge.
But
Destiny awaits.
yeah, I mean, this is just another one of those games that is just a money making machine. It doesn't seem to me like they're gonna really put the effort into maintaining it.
Yeah, unless there's something like here that I'm not seeing. Like this just looks like Overwatch 3. You know,
I mean, the level
skin.
literally looks like Overwatch.
Yeah.
Like if you were to tell me that this is Overwatch 3, I would have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then whatever that, I forget the name of that game, Rogue Company? It looks like Rogue Company with Marvel skin. And I didn't hate Rogue Company, don't get me wrong, but, like, it doesn't mean it's gonna shake the world, you know?
Oh my god. He's literally Tracer. Star-Lord is literally Tracer.
Just using a popular IP to piggyback.
Yeah.
Destructible terrain? Huh?
I mean, that is cool. I mean, the characters look cool.
I mean, I love Marvel, don't get me wrong. I would want a game like this to succeed because I love being superheroes and stuff. Like, I'll probably play it. I'll probably try it. Okay, Girl Galactica. Okay.
I mean, I think she's the daughter of Galactus.
Maybe I'm not brushed up on that part of my Marvel history.
But yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I mean, it looks cool, but yeah, it's just another one of those like trying to make money off of existing like popular games. You know,
yeah.
Everyone needs a battle royale. Everyone needs a 5v5, 6v6 shooter.
Yeah. Well, then we also got the Path of Exile. Some new stuff on that. When that first dropped, I was like, "Is this Diablo?" And then I was like, "No, this has got to be Path of Exile."
No, I am actually excited for this one because
why is that?
Path of Exile has always been the big competitor to Diablo, and Diablo 4 came out and was good, but not amazingly great. You know, it missed the mark on like what we expected from it. Like the campaign, in my opinion, was really good. It was a beautiful game. It had a lot of positives to it, but they kind of were. The expectation was that it was going to be like this like live service game, especially because it was like this like MMO-y kind of like always online game. Diablo 4 I'm talking about, right? So they kind of alluded to it like, hey, this is going to be a little bit more of an online game, which means that we're going to have a little bit more constant drip of content. And so like the campaign was good. I would give that an A, but their expectation setting on Diablo 4 was missed in their kind of like content map. So Path of Exile coming around, being the big competitor to Diablo series, now coming out with a sequel, because I didn't really love the first one. I felt like it was a little dated. So now that they're having a 2 come out, I can see this as possibly being like a real competitor to Diablo 4. And I'm gonna play the video. Let me pop it up. Boop, boop, boop. Let's check it out.
Arkham was once a peaceful land, but each day descends further into madness.
Blacksmith, cornerstone of any looter shooter, top-down TTRPG.
The very earth is being poisoned.
This literally is like Diablo 4 with the corruption.
Once our protectors have turned on us, and now they come for me.
I still feel like Diablo 2 was just like the peak of ARPGs, and
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I'm just never.
I must be the one.
Nothing will ever break that.
Sound like 1980s basketball fans or 90s. Where it's like nobody will ever be better than Michael Jordan.
And yeah, it doesn't matter how wrong I am.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about Path of Exile versus Diablo is that they leaned much more into the online multiplayer portion of it, right? They kind of like, it's like a light MMO, like kind of a live service-y game. So I'd be interested to see what their like, loop is.
I don't like the UI. I just really never liked the Path of Exile UI.
Yeah.
But I've heard nothing but good things about people who enjoyed the game, so I won't
I'm definitely not going to play this. It was hard enough to get me to try Diablo 4. I'm definitely not buying another game like that.
Well, the first one was free to play, so we'll see if this one's also free to play. But I mean, interesting, worth noting.
What about
The next
Infinity
game is
Nikki?
Yeah,
Infinity
you mentioned
Nikki.
Infinity Nikki. I honestly, I was like, oh, this isn't for me. 3 minutes into the game, I was like, you know what? I'd play a demo.
Yeah, it's made
It's
by
like
the
the
Breath of the Wild
final-
lead planner. He was at Nintendo for 20 years. I went off to Paper Games, started Paper Games, and
An open world dress up adventure.
yeah. Cue
That's
the trailer.
what it's called.
Cue the
It's
trailer.
the trailer. You watch it.
Let's
if
do
you
it.
don't,
Let's
if some of these outfits don't look so adorable, you don't want to play this game. I don't believe you're a true man. Honestly.
All right, let's do this.
Momo.
Eh.
I think I was dreaming.
It's so adorable. How could you not want to play this?
Very Japanese. I was at a talk at one of the places we're at, and the guy was like, "Yeah, Japan, like if it's not cute, they won't buy it. It has to be cute. It has to be adorable." So,
Are you ready for it?
The music is so Super Mario Odyssey inspired.
it is. All right, walking around, taking photos, buying
Pokemon
gear.
Snap, cute dresses.
Cute-
I'm not
yeah.
even being sarcastic. It looks like a lovely experience.
Yeah,
The
I'm sure it's
music
great.
is
It's not exactly
literally
my.
Odyssey.
It is. It does sound like Odyssey.
It's like
Girl riding a bike with her little Pokemon.
honestly, you know what would really sink me
Palco.
on this one? If they had some farming, just show her like growing crops, then it's Harvest Moon, then I'm sold.
Right?
You
Spaceship
can
action.
get wool and stuff from sheep and that to be able to for your clothing
Yeah.
options. So it is a
So
gathering.
you
game.
it looks like you explore, you
Looks
gather,
gorgeous.
and you like
Take
collect
photos.
pals. Oh, look, Elsa's here.
Look at all these like photo opportunities. It's like one of the
It
kind of
looks
games that like
a
I'd convince Katie
fantastic
to buy.
Switch game.
It does. It
Yeah.
looks like a Switch game. It does look like a Switch game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I would like convince Katie to buy that and then secretly play it on the side because it looks like fun.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a cute, casual, dress up adventure game.
A game about having fun. What a crazy idea.
Now
But
the complete.
that being said, the next one we're going to talk about is a game I know all of us will be at least a little excited about. Monster Hunter Wilds, which was
I actually
recently
don't like
announced.
Monster Hunter at all. Tried it.
Whatever, you don't like anything,
Didn't like
Dustin.
it.
I don't want to
It's
hear
true.
it. I don't want to hear
It's
it.
true. I just don't.
So-
I don't know. Can't get into Monster Hunter world.
As someone who plays every type of game, I'm just like... So,
I also want to show. Yeah. So, did they show something new, or is it just the same?
no, it's
trailer
new,
that
it was
was
new
already-
gameplay.
This is the first
yeah.
trailer.
Oh, because they announced it like a while ago. All right,
Yeah.
let's rock and roll it.
Oh, a new trailer. Confusingly dubbed the first trailer, despite being the second trailer.
Yeah,
It's
it was.
like the first part of
No,
the
it was a
article.
This is
Yeah,
the
I was like,
trailer
I'm
from the
100%
teaser.
certain
As soon as
that
we find a
there was
good
a teaser.
spot, we can get things set up and ready to go.
That
And
character
then we can
looks
get
like worse
started.
than Cindy as far
This is
as
gonna be great.
You bet.
like ridiculous
Yeah.
portions.
Well, the graphics
I
look
hope
good
we
so
find them
far.
soon.
I
mean,
like Monster Hunter, so
World-
I mean, I'm probably gonna
Monster
play
Hunter
it.
World was fantastic looking.
There's a lot of like, though. The thing with Monster Hunter is I always feel like the inventory management of the game is just so fucking awful. Of all the little knickknacks and potions and weird little fucking things that are completely useless in the game, that they should just remove entirely. The like, or redo the thing. It's like I just want to hunt monsters. Like,
Now to lead it away from the pack. We'll make for
right.
the
So this
desert.
one's an open world as opposed to the typical zone-based.
Yeah, there's mounted combat, a lot more mounting weather. It looks like the interactions between beasts are going to be more significant.
Now commencing the hunt by order of the guild.
So is this a single player experience or like a non-MMO?
No, it's the
It's
same.
not-
It'll be the same as the others. 4-player group play.
Yeah, so it's not an MMO, but you can like bring your friends in or matchmake usually. I think actually though, a Monster Hunter MMO would be fire. If they just full leaned into an MMO. I think that's like a massive missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like their formula would be tough to pull off.
What are you
in
talking
that
about?
format.
Dauntless is literally Monster Hunter MMO.
It's not an
And
MMO.
that game is fairly successful.
It's the same as Monster Hunter. It's exactly the same.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's like more MMO-y. I think Dauntless had a lot of mistakes, but
I haven't played Dauntless since its alpha, but like it
Hey,
is
me too.
exactly the same in format as Monster Hunter.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if they did an actual Monster Hunter game as an MMO, I think it would be great. I mean, this looks cool. It looks like another Monster Hunter. Like,
I don't know. I don't see it, but
I'll probably wait. Yeah, that's not like a day one for me. That's
oh,
like when
really?
it's...
That'll be a day one for me. I will definitely be getting that one. As long as, well, if it has PC. If it's just PlayStation 5, I might wait then. So I gotta
No.
say, I'm not interested in Silent Hill. That's the last one, and
I am.
I don't know anything about these games. I've never really played them, so I'll
Never
leave you
played
guys
them.
this one.
It's
No.
back in the day, the competitor to Resident Evil.
know,
Silent
but
Hill
I didn't-
2
you know.
is considered like the best of the Silent Hills, and so this is a remake of that one. So let's take a look. But,
Excuse
very
me?
Konami.
I'm sorry. I was just...
It's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost. I'm looking for Silent Hill.
I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it?
Is it dangerous?
Maybe.
I'll be careful.
Maybe.
I'm not lying.
It's a
I guess
terrible
I don't
answer.
really care if it's dangerous or not.
Okay, terrible response.
Yeah.
I'm going either way.
I don't know what it is with Konami, but their dialogue is never good.
No.
It's like aliens. They're very inhuman.
Yeah, or like their voice acting. They're like, you need to talk more robotic, but you have no actual connection to what's going on.
True emotions, yeah.
I feel like Capcom also has that problem.
I'll be good, I promise. Tell him I'll be good, please.
What the heck?
No, please.
Not for me.
Neat.
Not
Looks like
for
a lot
me.
of, crazy monsters.
Yeah, and I don't even want to talk about the last thing they showed. The Sony.
What, Astrobots?
No, I couldn't be less interested.
Oh, that's like their new flagshipy thing. We gotta play it. It's the final.
I didn't play the first. Oh no, I did play the first one.
There was no game. It was just a little interactive thing. That's nothing. That's not a game.
So this is, I think, I could be wrong, but I think this is the first full-length Astrobot game. All the previous Astrobot games have been
the
shorts.
new Portal.
It's kind of like their new mascot. It's like the PlayStation mascot.
Doomed
That's
to
what I
fail.
call Portal because for Valve.
Doomed to fail.
Doomed to fail? I don't think
Absolutely.
so. I don't think it's gonna fail. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a wild success, but I definitely don't think it's gonna fail.
Include it free with your PlayStation level.
It will
I
probably
think it
be
will,
like
to be
$10. If it costs money, it's probably $10.
I mean, if you think about it, the classic games are all platformers. This is just gonna be one of those, classic platformer. Banjo-Kazooie kind of, stuff. Mario 64.
It feels like propaganda. I feel like I'm playing Russian state TV, the video game. To me, it's like I don't trust this game because I know it wants me to love PlayStation and Sony.
But you're already playing a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
So
why are you selling me more?
I mean, I do think you're right that I think that it's going to be subsidized by PlayStation. I think it's going to be either free with their pass, or it's going to be cheaper. It's going to be maybe a $19.99 game. Because
I'm
of
just
that,
saying, who's asking for this?
I think a lot of people
like
Astrobots.
The little intro game thing was highly praised by so many people. I saw lots of people saying it was secretly the best available thing to play at launch.
Yeah, it was. And
but it was you run around. That was it.
I mean, there's a little more of that, but yeah.
Am I losing my mind right now? It was a thing where you went into a portal and it put you into a little place and you walked around. There was nothing else.
There's a game. There's games to it. There's levels.
There was a game.
And there's it was a platformer, and you could pick up items, and they even had little guns and things. And
okay, I guess I did.
There was
I
a show.
I'm losing my mind.
There was a show floor section that you could walk around and
okay.
just look at, but there's an actual game to it too.
Yeah, you get to go into each zone, and each zone had different things you could do in them.
Oh, I guess I never got to that. That explains it.
I mean, you could probably beat the whole thing in 2 or 3 hours, but it was actually really fun.
I mean, what's different from this to playing Mario? Because Mario is
I don't like
synonymous
Mario.
with Nintendo.
You don't like Mario? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Did you say I don't like things?
No, I've never beaten a Mario game. This is that discussion we had the other day about games we've never beaten. I went and played Super Mario Brothers the other day on
never
my
beat
Switch.
Odyssey?
Never beat Odyssey. Never beat 64. Never beat.
Oh my god! I have the whatever that 3-pack is that they came out with that has Mario 64, Super Mario, and Galaxy, I'm gonna lend it to you, and you're gonna have homework to
I
fucking beat
own
one
half
of those
them.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to beat one of them. Like, just beat one. That's it. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, what would you guys rate State of Play? I mean, there was a few other games that we didn't mention. Where Wind Meet, Until Dawn Remaster. Let me see,
The Where Wind
Behemoth.
Meets, I watched that trailer because I was like, oh, martial arts, whatever. Like, and I watched it, and we were talking about this before we started recording, and like, it was just like gameplay with like zero explanation of what you were even really watching or what the game was about. And it was just like, what the fuck is this? It was too much gameplay. You know, not like and you're just like, I don't know what this even is. Yeah, so you know, I thought it was cool. Like, you know, we see a lot of games like that are like very like Japanese culture focused. This one, it looks like it's more like Chinese culture or background, which I think is cool because it's a little bit different. But yeah, there just wasn't enough.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't enough there for me to like get excited because it's just, again, it was just like battle scenes of you like fighting bosses, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think of the State of Play as being the kind of kickoff to the not E3 season?
I thought it was okay. You know, there was a couple I'm excited about, a couple of things I wasn't excited about.
How much of these were like actually new announcements that we didn't know about? Because obviously a lot of this had already been revealed with like either teasers.
I mean, a couple things. I mean, the Astrobot was new. I know that you don't really care. Concord we knew existed, but I think this was the first trailer. And let me see what else.
Actually, launches on August 23rd, so I think this was like the first like deep dive into it.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, some of the PSVR stuff, but I think that's kind of like whatever. But like we knew about like Silent Hill, we knew about Monster Hunter, we knew about all that other stuff.
Dynasty Warriors Origins, is that the first time?
Maybe.
I don't know, but I think it was. I haven't seen it around at all.
I don't know. I mean, there wasn't anything here for me that was like, holy shit, you know. But also, like, I've never been like a longtime PlayStation guy. I've always played PC, so some of these franchises I've never really played, like Silent Hill. Again, like I didn't really like Monster Hunter World that much, so that doesn't do much for me. I am excited about Ragnarok coming to PC because I've wanted to play that for a while. If it costs $70, I'm not going to play it still. So I mean, nothing that like got me off my chair, but it's cool.
Yeah, I agree. I'd give it like a B+. You know, it was good. There's some interesting things. Nothing blew my socks off.
I will be surprised to see though. Like I would not be surprised, even though they did the State of Play, if there are still like the couple biggest Sony exclusives are not announced until the 7th on
until Summer
Games Fest. Because I mean, yes, we can look at what's announced here, but if this is the full Sony exclusive slate, we should be thinking more like what's not here. Like there is no Ghost of Tsushima 2 here.
I feel like you're right. It's not. This wasn't the main platter.
Yeah. So it's a teaser.
I hope
like an appetizer. I think to keep the food references, an appetizer of what we will hopefully see a couple of main courses come out during Summer Games Fest. If we don't, and this was it, it's extremely disappointing for Sony for the rest of the year.
In retrospect, it would be a different story for sure.
Oh yeah, no big 2024 drop. Well, I think that's time for us.
Cool.
So cool. Thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to follow or subscribe when we post new episodes. We post new episodes every Tuesday morning on podcast services and YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube at Pixelated Realms Podcast. And don't forget, we'll have a special episode for Summer Games Fest on
Friday,
this
2
week,
p.m.
this next weekend. Yeah. All right.